Hello everyone and welcome, it's Shanna. Now after watching Tim Holtz and Heidi's live today and seeing all the makes that the makers made, I just had to sit down and create a couple tags. Now I am pulling out all of the tags that I have in my various nested die sets, and I'm not going to use any of them. I couldn't find the one that I wanted that was like an actual tag looking type thing. I'm bringing in the Shadow Joy from Yana. I've got the seasonal wreath foliage and the Christmas sentiments and the Christmas foliage, and we'll be working with those today. I've got a whole bunch of Canson watercolor papers that I've cut down to 4 by 4.5, and we're just going to get real inky. We're going to just do some mixed media, and we're going to have some fun, in which I'm trying to create some interesting tags similar to what we saw on Tim and Heidi's live today for the Stampendous, the new kit release that they have. I don't have the kit and will not be buying it, but I thought it would be fun. I've been doing that lately. When I see something that someone makes, I go digging through my stash to see if there's a way that I could make it, and that's essentially what I did here. So I've ink blended with lumberjack plaid and black soot on that last panel, and then spritzed it with water. I'm using wilted violet and the lilac, lavender, whatever it is, I can't think of it at the moment, milled lavender on the purple. And then this one is just vintage photo, and then this one is mowed lawn, and I think I bring in some pine needles as well. I'll spritz some of them, and I'll keep some of them plain, and we won't use all of them. I was just having a good time creating a bunch of panels in different colors and just trying to see what I might want to work with. And when it all came down to it, I wasn't sure what I was working with. I just kind of let my die cut pieces make the decision for me. So here's all the panels, and I've spritzed some of them I haven't. And now I'm going to bring in my mica sprays and my oxide sprays and just give them, I think these are all mica sprays, and I'm just giving them each a spray with the different colors that I have. I tried to match the sprays up with the ink that I've got laid down on the panel. And this might be Harvest, or I don't know what it is, Crackling Campfire or whatever, I don't know. This one is the purple one. I can't remember the names of it, but I'm sure you guys know what they are. Anyway, just giving it a spritz, just trying to add some shimmer and some, distressed look to these panels. And I'm just laying each one aside and drying it. Now we are going to work with this red one here, and I'm going to bring in. This is a new one. I hadn't even opened it yet. I'm not even sure what it is. I've been picking them up when they're on sale at different places. I think Joann's had these on a clearance or something, and I grabbed them. Anyway, once I get this open, we'll give this one a spritz and just add a little bit more texture to it. I'm fighting with it. Giving it a shake. I did make sure I shook them all up before I got going, and this came out really blotchy, so I turned it over. I tried to give it a couple sprays, but we're going to have some big blotches on here, but we'll just sop it up with a paper towel, and it'll be good to go. So I need to do this more because I really had fun, because there's no pressure. Just put down a bunch of ink. It doesn't even have to blend nice. Just kind of throw it down and see what you come up with, and you get some really interesting things. So super, super fun. I don't know why I don't do it more often, because I do enjoy it, and I usually am pretty pleased with the results when I get done. But so I'm just continuing to add splatter, just giving it another shake. I think I brought in another color here, and I'm just adding a little bit more to it just to get some different colors and some different shine on there. And then these long narrow ones are ones that I'm actually going to die cut my Christmas foliage and my seasonal wreath foliage out of. The long narrow ones. I do red and a couple of green ones because I know I'm going to have a lot of leaves. And I actually had already put a little ink on there and put some gold embossing powder on there and threw that down. I thought that would make my die cut pieces look interesting. And so I brought this one back in. I think I'm bringing in, antique, to give it kind of a gold sparkle to it. and just ink it up. So we've got all of our panels ready, and we're going to come back in. And I've just got these 3 pieces here that I'm going to do all of my die cutting out, and I'm not going to make you watch it. I spent a good deal of time in the craft room on this particular day doing this. This actually probably won't air for a while, but I actually did it right after I saw the Tim Holtz and Heidi live where they were rolling out the kit. And so that's what prompted me to do it. But anyway, I'm going to die cut out all of the, the Christmas foliage, I can't seem to say that, and the seasonal wreath foliage, and then the Christmas sentiments, and we're going to use that shadow joy from Yana for our sentiment on one of them as well. So here I've got all the pieces, and I've sped this up quite a bit because it does take a minute to get all these different pieces assembled. So you can see I've got multicolored and textured leaves and flowers, and all the little white circles are actually upside down, and they are like floral centers and floral just like little buds. And anyway, so that's what I'm doing here, and I'm just speeding it up so you don't have to watch me. Now that one flower wasn't die cut out. I didn't have enough space, but I wanted to get as much as I could out of that ink blended panel. So one of the petals was broken off, so I laid that leaf down on there to cover up the broken petal. And it won't matter because we're going to layer everything up very nicely anyway. So I'll just keep assembling until I get everything together and ready to go, and then we'll start building our tags. I don't make tags very often, but boy, they're fun. And you know what Tim said on his live is, people say, I don't make tags. What am I going to do with tags? Well, you can readily put them right on a card. I mean, he had an example of the tag and then the card with the tag on it and how great it looked. So certainly, you're not limited to, I'm just making a tag for a gift. You can certainly put it on your card as a focal point. And the tag actually makes a very good landing zone for all of your bits and pieces, and you can kind of cluster on it and really create a really fun little cluster or little scene or whatever that you're trying to create. So I'm just taking all these little, I don't know if these are like buds or like they're berries or whatever, and getting them. So I'm just going to get everything out of the way. I'm going to take this Shadow Joy sentiment. This is part of Yana Smakula's collection that was released this season, and it actually has multiple layers. It is really a cool die set. You can just add all kinds of dimension to it, but I'm going to just use the plain, I guess I'm using the shadow part of the shadow. And I've got the Christmas, which is a 3-layered sentiment from the Christmas sentiment set. It's really cool. You've got the word layer, and then you've got a tight shadow, and then you've got a bigger layer behind it, and it makes for a really nice sentiment. And I just die cut it all out in white because we're going to ink all this up. We're going to heat emboss it and just really add some sparkle and shine to the sentiment. So I'm just taking my pigment ink and clear and going over it, and I'm just dumping some gold Love from Lizzie embossing powder on it, and then we're going to heat it up, and it's going to be a gold shiny sentiment. And I was trying to figure out where to hold it because I didn't want to get any of the embossing powder off of it because I wanted the whole thing to be covered. But now the next layer, we're going to just, I'm going to bring in just a mahogany ink, distress ink, and just go straight to the cardstock with the mini and just try and get a real dark color. I'm trying to kind of match the poinsettias that I've got laying over there. And then I'm going to use some clear embossing powder and just put a really nice shine on this. And we'll just heat emboss it, and we'll get our second layer ready. And I actually decide not to use that base layer on this one, and Then for the joy, I was like, what am I going to do with it? And I thought, I'm going to spray some water on this ink that's on my desk and just dunk this in there and just give it a real watercolored look. And so that's what I did, and I actually like how it turned out. It turned out nice. I had some areas that I struggled with getting the color on, so I just kept turning it over and pushing it into the puddles and just grabbing some ink. And you can see it's not fully covered, and that's just fine. It works very nice how I want it to work with this. So I'm going to clean up my desk. I did that numerous times because I was just inking and spraying, and my hands were just filthy. So I've got this, and now I'm going to just take that clear embossing ink and sprinkle it on there. And I'm just going to put a tiny little bit on here and try to get just a little bit of sparkle. And then I'll come back in and decide to go around all the edges of the letters and kind of put a gold edge. Not completely, but kind of around the edges of the word, and I think it looks really cool. It turned out really nice. So here's where I'm going to grab that and just kind of go around the edges of the letters, and I'm not hitting it all. I'm just kind of roughly going around there and putting some of that ink on there. And then we'll come back in with that gold embossing powder, and it'll look really nice on there. The edges will pick it up nice. Trying to get the side of the Y on there. And I kind of made a mess there, so I have to get that all cleaned up. Trying to get the tittle covered as well. Just brush this off just going to use some cardstock, kind of scrape it off there into the paper, and then we'll get it added back. Looks like I spilled a little bit more of it too. That's one thing about embossing powder. I do have a tendency to make, I'm kind of a messy crafter. I guess I'm the speedy, messy crafter. So we'll bring in that heat tool and just get our tittle all shined up. And then we're going to do the same with our joy. One of the things Tim talked about is if you've got a sentiment that's too big for your tag, just make the rest of your elements hang off the tag as well. And so that's what we'll do here. Some fun tips. I always enjoy Tim. I enjoy watching him and catching his lives. They're so much fun. And so today I enjoyed it. And the makers, he's got such great makers, and they just blow it out of the water. Seems like every time I'm just in awe of the things that they do. They don't let their minds stifle their creativity in any way. It's just so interesting. If you've never watched him, you might check out his lives and check out his makers when you get the opportunity. He's not releasing products, so to speak, anymore, but he is doing some crafty lives and stuff. I have been catching them periodically, but it's a shame because I really enjoyed watching it. I think he has great product. I don't have a lot of it, but what I do have, I enjoy. So the back of my tag was all inked up and pretty nasty looking, so I just brought some clean paper for the back of it. And since I made my own tag, I'm going to bring in, I'll just bring in a hole punch, but I've got a reinforcer that came with the documenting labels and tags set from Spellbinders, and I'm going to die cut out some of those reinforcers for the hole, and then I'll bring in my hole punch and we'll just punch a hole. I'm going to do one for the front and back side both, and I'll do it for the other card as well. I think I show the die cutting for both anyway. So just punch that in there. I had to give it a good press because I had too thick. That watercolor paper is very thick, and then I had put some 110-pound Nino Solar White on the back of it as well because I had a piece of it cut, and that's heavy duty. So that's a good, strong tag. I think it'll hold up nicely for Christmas. Just going to trim off a little bit. I see peeking around the edges there. And there we go. So I'm just going to go, I'm going to get this, decide what I'm going to lay down on here. And for this one, I'm going to use the Christmas, and I'm just going to use some of the poinsettias and just kind of get them positioned on there. Because I had the gold embossing on there, I had to kind of pick some of the pieces out. I didn't want to weed completely out because that gold embossing powder, made it very thick when I cut it. So I'm going to lay some sprigs with the little buds or the berries on there, and we're just going to kind of create a little, almost like a 3/4 wreath, and get it laid down on there. And I love the green with that embossed gold emboss on there. Now, these leaves actually were ones that have the beads on, or the berries on there, so I'm just adding the berries to it. And then we'll get our little buds laid down. And then we'll bring in another poinsettia. Then we can get our cinnamon. And I really like that deep, dark red, almost black. I mean, it's like a blackberry type background there. So it's really rich in color, and I think it looks really pretty with this. I'm going to bring in some of those little black foam squares and just pop up this Christmas cinnamon and get it laid down on our tag. So we'll get it laid down on there. I will tell you, I'm going to do some embellishing. Well, I think I've already done it on here. I've put the beads on the flower centers and the little gold things. But after I video and I take my pictures and everything, I go out to the kitchen. I think I was fixing dinner or something, and then I came back and I actually put some clear stickles on there. So I've got some shine on those poinsettias, and they look really pretty. And it was nice because I thought of it while I was in process cooking. So I came in, I had a minute, and I squirted it on there, and then I walked away and finished my cooking. And so it dried, and I didn't stick my fingers in it. It's a miracle. So anyway, that's what I did. And I did it on both tags on the poinsettias, just to add some more sparkle and some more shine to it. Now we're bringing in the blue panel. I couldn't decide if I wanted to use the orange. I knew I didn't want to do the green because I had too much greenery to lay the green on. But I thought I'm going to do the blue. I think the blue would be really pretty. And I think the red could look nice with it. And the green, of course, will look nice. So we went with this one. And I started to cut it with small scissors. And I'm like, no. And so then I'll cut it with this. And I won't like it. So we'll trim some more. But I'm just not an expert tag maker. I don't make them that often. So I'm not that good at trimming them down. But we'll cut that off. And I think it looks a little better like that. And so we're going to, we'll actually layer this one up as well, so that the back of it will be nice and clean. And I'll just bring in some blue cardstock, and we'll lay it down on here. This is just Spellbinders Cosmic Sky, I think, one of my favorites. Get it laid down on there, then we'll just trim around it. And we'll have a double layer, good solid tag. Just using those Tim Holtz scissors. Love those things. Just going to trim off some edges there. And then we've got this great big joy. And like I said, Tim said, if it's hanging off, just have your floral elements hang off with it, and it'll be just fine. Now I'm looking for something that I can die cut out another joy so that it will be more sturdy, since it's going to be hanging over that. And I'll wind up grabbing another piece of that Cosmic Sky cardstock and die cutting it out of that, because I thought, well, if you flip it over and you see the back of the joy, it will match the back of the tag with what I've got on there. So I decided to use that. And Spellbinders is pretty good heavy cardstock. So I thought it layered up with that Nina Solar White that I have there would be a good solid sentiment. And it would hopefully not bend too much, hanging off the edges. And it looks like I got some of that red lumberjack plaid ink on the back of that, which doesn't matter. We're going to cover it up. And so we'll get that layered up, and we got a good sturdy sentiment now. And then we're going to do the same thing with the tittle to the eye. We'll just layer it up on there. So here I went and I cut out the reinforcers for the hole, and I'm going to use my hole punch again. So really you don't need a die set to create a tag. You can just do what I did, just cut the edges and use your hole punch, and you don't even need the reinforcers. I actually have a die somewhere that is an actual tag die, and it does have the reinforcers and stuff. It's from scrapbook.com, but I was flipping through stuff and didn't see it. Not sure, maybe I moved it or something. I thought I had it with regular. I keep all my nesting dies that I use regularly right there together, and I usually have that tag die with it. So I don't know. I've moved things around so much in here. Who knows where it is? However, I have kind of got a nice organizational system now, and I'm starting to figure out where things are. So we're just going to put this poinsettia up here in the upper left-hand corner. I think it looks pretty. We've got the Great Big Joy. We're just going to tuck some just different leaves in here and there and just really fill it out, make it look really full. And I'm going to bring some more berries in and just try and kind of fill up that space. We'll get them laid down on there. I think it's coming together nicely. Now this is going to air much later because I have loaded my channel up for vacation and every day is full, and so this is going to be pushed way out there. So when you're watching it, you're going to think, when was that, live that she was talking about? It will have been, several, probably a week and a half later. But anyway, but I will tell you, the kits that were associated with that live, I think are coming out the 28th. So if you did get that kit, I guess this is a little bit of inspiration, even though I don't have the kit. It's kind of similar to some of the things that they did with the kit. And there we'll get the dot to our joy laid down there. The J, I should say. I think I said I earlier. I don't know. Anyway, so I've got some gold berries that were die cut out with the other stuff, some extra ones. And I thought, well, they'll make for some nice embellishment on this card and fill in. It'll go well with the leaves that have the gold embossing powder on it. And so I'm just going to sprinkle some of those around. And on this card as well, I put some of those clear stickles on the poinsettia and on the berries that are on the leaves, and walked away from it, and I didn't mess them up. So I'm still tucking. I'm like, I've got leaves. I'm going to tuck them. And I think this will finish it off. So we're going to get all the bits and pieces out of there. I'll clean up my desk and come back in. We're going to add some ribbon and twine to this. That's what I did with the other one. I just took some silky ribbon and I took some coarse twine, and we've kind of got two different types of dimension on our tag holder. So I'll just loop it through here so that we've got the loop in the back, and then we've got two really nice tags. I'm really happy with them. Very pleased. So I'm going to get all the junk out of the way, and then we'll get a look-see at them. So here's the first one with the Christmas. I think it's really pretty. And then we've got the Joy. I think they both turned out nice. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.